Here are the top stories for today, October 14, 2021. Metro Manila will shift to a more relaxed Alert Level 3 starting on Saturday. More restrictions will be eased while operational capacity of business will also be increased. The Philippines is all set for the vaccination of minors against COVID-19, which starts tomorrow. 8 hospitals will pilot the inoculation of the younger population as the country strives to battle the pandemic. Around 50 million Filipinos are expected to be included in the Philippine Identification System by year-end, which is aimed at easing transactions with the government and other services. And as the holiday season nears, the Labor Department says employers and employees must mutually agree to a possible arrangement on the release of 13th-month pay on an installment basis. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Staycation is now allowed in accredited Metro Manila hotels as the region eases to Alert Level 3. Under the amended guidelines, only DOT-accredited staycation hotels with government-issued Safety Seal certification will be allowed to accommodate staycation guests starting Saturday, October 16. The accredited hotels are allowed to operate at 100% capacity. Also allowed under Alert Level 3 are meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, social events like weddings, parties and family reunions, and tourist attractions at a maximum of 30% indoor capacity for fully vaccinated individuals and 50% outdoor venue capacity for individuals regardless of vaccination status. Religious gatherings, dine-in and personal care services are also allowed at 30% indoor capacity for fully vaccinated persons and 50% outdoor capacity for all persons regardless of vaccination status. Meanwhile, PNP Chief General Guillermo Eleazar directed police officers in Metro Manila to assist in ensuring that businesses and other establishments comply with the guidelines on the prescribed operational capacity under Alert Level 3. He also urged the public not to be complacent amid the decrease in the number of coronavirus infections in the country. It's all systems go for the rollout tomorrow of the pilot inoculation of the younger population aged 12 to 17 years old with existing illnesses. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque said the continued supply of vaccines coming into the country, especially this month of October, has made it possible for the national government to expand the vaccination program to the younger generations and to the general public as well. The 8 hospitals where the pediatric vaccination pilot will be done are the National Children's Hospital, Philippine Heart Center, Fed Del Mundo Medical Center, and the Philippine Children's Medical Center in Quezon City, Pasig City Children's Hospital in Pasig, Philippine General Hospital in Manila, Makati Medical Center in Makati, and St. Luke's Medical Center in Taguig. Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said the allocation will be based on the number of registered patients. He also explained that it will be done in a phased and sequential approach, which means the inoculation of 15 to 17 years old will be done first, followed by the 12 to 14 years group. Parental or guardian consent and medical certificate is needed before a minor can receive a shot.
Dahil steady nga po ang supply ng ating mga bakuna, magsisimula na sa Biyernes, October 15, ang initial rollout para sa may mga comorbidities na may edad hanggang 12 hanggang 17 sa NCR. Simula na po tayo ng ating juvenile vaccination. Start na rin po ang bakunahan ng general population, ha? So lahat na po ay po pwedeng magpabakuna.
All fully vaccinated foreign nationals from green countries are no longer required to undergo the mandatory quarantine if they tested negative for COVID-19. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque said these foreign nationals who wish to enter the country must yield negative RT-PCR test results taken within 72 hours before they depart from the country of origin. They are also enjoined to self-monitor for any symptoms until the 14th day. The same protocol also applies to fully vaccinated Filipinos. Meanwhile, facility-based quarantine is a must for unvaccinated or partially vaccinated individuals, those with unverified vaccination status, and those vaccinated but failed to comply with the test before travel requirements. They will have to take the RT-PCR test on their 5th day in the country. Foreign nationals are required to secure hotel reservations for at least 6 days. Minors who are traveling with their fully vaccinated parents or guardians are also required to observe the quarantine protocols corresponding to their vaccination status. For those who are heading north, Ilocos Norte reduces its antigen fees for tourists and residents. Ilocos Norte residents can now avail of antigen tests for only 300 pesos from its earlier price of 500 pesos, while tourists who will be staying for 2 nights will only pay 600 pesos, which was earlier priced at 800 pesos. Based on local guidelines, a negative antigen test result is required for those coming from areas under GCQ or modified GCQ areas and those under alert levels 1, 2, and 3. The province, which is now back to a more relaxed general community quarantine, has reopened its borders to leisure travelers, allowing them to visit heritage sites and outdoor attractions subject to health protocols. The government is on its way in achieving the population protection as more local government units ramp up its inoculation drive. The details from Chris Mundo.
In Bulacan, persons deprived of liberty have been inoculated with COVID-19 vaccines at the Bulacan Provincial Jail. The Provincial Health Office said it targets to inoculate more than 400 inmates a day. 3 more vaccination dates are set for October, on 15th, 19th, and the 20th. In Butuan City, a total of 159,879 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have already been administered as of Tuesday. This is equivalent to 27% of the total population of the city and 33% of the target herd immunity set by local authorities. And in Negros Oriental, the inoculation rollout continues to speed up as the province has received more vaccines from the national government. So far, the province has inoculated 32.7% of the province's target of 908,939 individuals. The provincial government has deployed mobile vaccination teams to assist LGUs in the inoculation rollout. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque lauded the newly vaccinated students for heeding the government's call to participate in the immunization campaign against the coronavirus. During the ceremonial vaccination of its tertiary students at Mabalacat City College in Pampanga City, Roque said inoculating the students is vital to ensure their safety when they attend in-person classes. CHED Chairperson Prospero de Vera said around 73% of higher education institution personnel nationwide have already been inoculated against COVID-19. Next week, the Commission would lead the vaccination of student athletes of the University Athletic Association of the Philippines. CHED would also be doing road shows in different universities nationwide. Still to come, the Commission on Elections reminds candidates yes to donations but not from foreigners and foreign companies. And the government expects the number of Filipinos registered with the national ID system to reach 50 million by year-end. Details ahead, this is the PNA Newsroom.
Mga kabida, importante pa rin ang disiplina sa pag-iwas sa pagkalat ng COVID-19. Upang masiguro ang kaligtasan ninyo at inyong mga pamilya, hanapin ang Safety Seal sticker sa inyong pupuntahan. Mapamall man ito, kainan, pasyalan, o kahit na anumang public o private business establishment. Ang Safety Seal ay tanda na ang isang establishment ay sumusunod sa minimum public health standards ng gobyerno upang maiwasan ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. Ating tandaan, bida ang may tatak. Hashtag Safety Seal para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Mga kabida, COVID-19 may be here for a while as we continue to aim for population protection through vaccination. So to keep you and your family safe, look for the Safety Seal sticker whenever you go to malls, eat out in restaurants, or visit any private or public establishments. This Safety Seal certification signifies that an establishment is compliant with health and safety protocols set by the government to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Kaya you're guaranteed of health and safety consciousness of the places you go to. Remember, bida ang may tatak. Check if there is a safety seal along the entrance area of the place you're visiting para ligtas ang pamilya, ligtas ang bayan.
The Commission on Elections reminds political candidates that it cannot source its campaign funds from foreign nationals and companies. This came after a crowdfunding page was launched for the presidential bid of Vice President Leni Robredo, where it said they are accepting donations of any amount. In a tweet, COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon reiterates that foreigners cannot contribute to any Filipino candidate. Under the Constitution, candidates are prohibited from accepting election-related financial contributions from foreign governments and their agencies. If proven, candidates would be facing an electoral offense charge which could result in disqualification. Moreover, candidates are also prohibited from soliciting funds from financial institutions, public utility companies, government contractors and franchise holders, individuals and companies with government loans of more than 100,000 pesos, government officials and employees, members of the military and educational institutions with at least 100,000 peso state grants are also not allowed to contribute to campaign funds. President Rodrigo Duterte has endorsed the senatorial bid of former NEDA Secretary Manny Piñol. The president made the announcement following his meeting with religious leader Apollo Kibuloy in Davao City. Piñol said the president's endorsement came only during the past 3 days since he filed his certificate of candidacy on October 8 under the Nationalist People's Coalition headed by Senate President Tito Soto. He is the second guest candidate of the PDP Laban slate. The other is former DPWH Secretary Mark Villar of the Nacionalista Party. Piñol thanked the president for his endorsement, saying his friendship with the chief executive has never changed despite differences in economic policies, especially on the rice tariffication law. A former CPP, NPA, NDF cadre urged Filipino voters to shun candidates and party list groups fielded by the different communist legal front organizations in the 2022 elections. Ka Arkins Evangelista revealed his work as a cadre operator of the Bayan Muna party list during the 2019 elections. He said he was appointed as the provincial coordinator for Bayan Muna in Zamboanga del Norte with a letter signed by Attorney Nery Colmenares. Evangelista said he was recruited into the CPP-NPA when he became a scholar of the Mindanao Interfaith Foundation Services Incorporated in 2015. He appealed to voters not to vote for the party list organizations under the Makabayan bloc because of their connection to the CPP-NPA-NDF. Colmenares filed a certificate of candidacy for senator in the 2022 elections under the Makabayan bloc, composed of party list groups that include Bayan Muna, Gabriela, Anak Pawis, ACT Teachers, and Kabataan. The government expects around 50 million Filipinos to be included in the Philippine Identification System, or PhilSys, by the end of the year. National Economic and Development Authority Director General Carl Kendrick Chua said the Philippine Statistics Authority seeks to register an additional 22 million Filipinos and 5 million overseas Filipino workers in the PhilSys by next year. As of October 8, Chua said the PSA has already registered 43.2 million persons for Step 1 and 35.9 million individuals for Step 2. They also signed up 5.6 million bank account registrants, which include unbanked low-income individuals. Chua said their target is 100% financial inclusion at the family level. The PhilID card is now accepted as proof of identity at all SM Supermall business centers. SM said it will start accepting PhilID cards in transactions for foreign currency exchange, remittance services, and credit cards. The Philippine Statistics Authority has partnered with the SM Prime Holdings in pushing the adoption of the Philippine Identification System Project, or PhilSys. National statistician and PSA Undersecretary Dennis Mapa said the partnership aims to promote seamless financial inclusion to all Filipinos. For their part, SM Supermalls President Stephen Tan said PhilSys will further improve the mall's financial transaction services. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, the Philippine Postal Corporation, and the Department of Foreign Affairs have already recognized the use of PhilID cards as a valid proof of identity. The Department of Social Welfare and Development is also running a pilot test for the use of PhilSys in its various social services. Meanwhile, in Negros Oriental, the PSA is now accepting children and adolescents aged 5 to 17 years old for registration to PhilSys, provided that their parents are also registered. The PSA said children who are still below 18 years will have to be accompanied by a parent or parents upon registration. Preschoolers need not know how to read or write, as the system only requires biometrics like fingerprints and eye scanning and not a signature. Legal guardians of children, however, need to present a valid proof of identity such as a court document to present to the PSA. In our business news, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas says the rise in the number of individuals vaccinated against COVID-19 will address the pandemic-related unemployment in the country. The unemployment rate in the country increased to 8.1% last August from 6.9% last July. However, economic managers noted that labor force participation increased to 63.6% last August from 59.8% a month before as more people rejoined the labor force. They also noted an increase in the number of employed by 2.6 million in August, bringing employment back up to 1.7 million above the pre-pandemic levels. For his part, BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno said they are confident that around half of the population will be vaccinated before the end of the year. He cited that for the National Capital Region alone, around 80% of the target individuals have been vaccinated. Up next, no let-up in anti-drug campaign. Customs officers bust 6.5 million pesos worth of ecstasy tablets in Pasay. And growing food the natural way, the country's first urban farming hydroponic hub opens in Quezon City. Back after a quick break, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Ako po si Sergeant Muñoz ng Philippine Air Force para sa kampanya na Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Proud po akong sabihin na bakunado na ako laban sa COVID-19. Kaya naman po panatag ang aking kalooban dahil alam ko na protektado ako at ang aking pamilya laban sa coronavirus. Bida ang may disiplina. Kaya naman magparehistro at magpabakuna na para sa ligtas na pamilya at ligtas na bayan.
Paulo Medjones po para sa kampanyang Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Bakit ba kailangan magparehistro sa pagpapabakuna laban sa COVID-19? Mahalaga magparehistro dahil ito ang unang step sa pagpapabakuna laban sa COVID-19. May 3 pamamaraan upang makapagrehistro ang isang Pilipino na nais mabakunahan. Una, ang online registration sa inyong local government unit o LGU. Pangalawa, ang pagpunta sa mga vaccination centers at pagkuha ng registration form. At pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga pinuno ng barangay o sa mga barangay health center. Tandaan, online, sa mga vaccination site o sa mga barangay health centers ang pagpaparehistro sa pagpapabakuna kontra COVID-19. Muli ako po si Paulo Medjones, Disiplina Muna Ambassador na nagpapaalala, huwag matakot magpabakuna. Bida ang may disiplina. Magparehistro at magpabakuna para ligtas ang pamilya, ligtas ang bayan. Disiplinadong Pilipino ay rehistrado para maging bakunado.
The Department of Labor and Employment sees no problem with the payment of 13th month pay to private sector employees on an installment basis. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III, however, said this arrangement must be mutually agreed upon by employers and their employees. Bello added that while he understands the plight of employers who are still reeling from the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, they have to comply with the law. Under Presidential Decree 851, employers are mandated to pay the 13th month pay on or before December 24. The payment shall not be less than 1/12 of the total basic pay salary earned by an employee within a calendar year. Customs officers in Pasay City seized on Wednesday a shipment of ecstasy tablets from Germany. The Bureau said the contraband was concealed in a parcel covered with tarpaulin sheets. Initial examination revealed 2 improvised pouches containing around 6.5 million pesos worth of ecstasy tablets. The seized illegal drugs were immediately turned over to the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA. In South Cotabato, PDEA reports that its agents recovered around 3.1 million pesos worth of illegal drugs this year. The illegal items were seized in 23 entrapment and search operations against identified high-value targets from January to September. PDEA cited the feedback via the Isumbong Mo Kay Wilkins platform, a community engagement initiative launched by PDEA Director General Wilkins Villanueva. PDEA agents also arrested an illegal drug suspect who yielded 340,000 pesos worth of suspected shabu in a buy-bust in Sorsogon City. JP Ariarte, a high-value target illegal drug peddler from Barangay Bibingkahan, was caught selling 3 sachets of shabu to an undercover agent on Tuesday afternoon. The suspect will be charged with a violation of Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. And in Pangasinan, authorities confiscated 54,000 pesos worth of suspected shabu and 3,000 pesos worth of marijuana in a buy-bust on Tuesday afternoon. Suspect Eddie Boy Barocan of Barangay Poblacion yielded 10 sachets of shabu and 5 sachets of suspected marijuana. Meanwhile, 5 sachets of suspected shabu worth about 10,000 pesos were seized from a minor in Urbistondo town. The minor is temporarily under the custody of the Police Women and Children Protection Desk. President Rodrigo Duterte hails the Presidential Task Force on Media Security's efforts in protecting the media workers' welfare by upholding press freedom in the country. In his message for the 5th founding anniversary of the PT FOMS, Duterte expressed hope that the agency would continue to show excellence and commitment in fulfilling its mandate. Duterte also expressed appreciation for the PT FOM's resolve to protect the life, liberty, and security of the Philippine media. PT FOMS is headed by the Department of Justice and co-chaired by the Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO. At least 51 of 187 cases of media killings in the country monitored by PT FOMS have resulted in a guilty verdict. PT FOMS also oversaw the filing of cases in court against perpetrators of media violence, arrested 9 suspects, and investigated 7 killings. The Department of Agriculture on Wednesday unveiled the Urban Agri-Hydro Hub Learning Center at the pop-up Katipunan in Quezon City as part of efforts to overcome hunger and food shortages in the country. The project is a collaboration of the DA, the Philippine Association of Agriculturists, UP Diliman Institute of Biology, and the Freshest. Agriculture Secretary William Dar said the project seeks to promote urban farming to develop a healthy lifestyle and practice appreciation for agriculture. He also said Metro Manila people have to now start doing their own share in providing their own food. The new facility will also contribute to attaining food security and will make high-value crops available in urban areas. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Metro Manila will shift to a more relaxed Alert Level 3 starting on Saturday. More restrictions will be eased while operational capacity of business will also be increased. The Philippines is all set for the vaccination of minors against COVID-19, which starts tomorrow. 8 hospitals will pilot the inoculation of the younger population as the country strives to battle the pandemic. Around 50 million Filipinos are expected to be included in the Philippine Identification System by year-end, which is aimed at easing transactions with the government and other services. And as the holiday season nears, the Labor Department says employers and employees must mutually agree to a possible arrangement on the release of 13th-month pay on an installment basis. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And it is 72 days more to go before Christmas Day. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day. Stay safe, everyone.